Hello and welcome to the third video in this mini video series, which is all about the overview of how to create an online course. We're going through the 4 major phases of creating an online course. Phase 1, planning and profit. Phase 2, content and delivery. That's the video we're going to be talking about today. Phase 3 is your tech setup and phase 4 is your launch and ongoing marketing. Now, today we're going to be talking all about content and how to basically start getting the content out of your head and start organizing that into a logical manner. What to include in your course, how much to include in your course, how to gather the right content together and make sure that your course is going to be engaging to your learners. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth today. I'm simply going to give you a few very basic tips to get you started so that you have something to write down, put on your to-do list and start moving forward today. Now, this video has come from a survey that I sent out to my email list and to my Facebook group, Entrepreneur to Edupreneur, recently, and I had this huge list of questions come back. A lot of the questions that came back fitted into today's topic about content and delivery. They included things like, how do I structure it? How do I do my videos? How do I do a workflow for the content creation? How do I flesh the ideas out of my mind and put them into a template? How do I make sure that I don't overcrowd the course with too much content? What are the different presentation types that I can use to communicate my content? Do I do big lessons, short lessons? How long should my videos be? How do I explain my ideas? It just goes on. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of questions in here, but those are the types of questions that I'm going to answer in this video for you today. Very basic level, again, just to give you some ideas and get you started. Now, when it comes to creating content, the biggest problem that online course creators have is usually about having too much content. And it's kind of ironic because a lot of people would think that our biggest problem is going to be, what do I include in my course? The biggest question actually is what not to include in your course. And this is why I say to people, the first thing that I really want you to think about are your learning outcomes. And some people are going to yawn and say, boring, here comes the teachery bit. Yes, we are getting the teachery bit out right now. Your learning outcomes quite literally mean the outcome of the learning. What will be the result for people at the end of your course? Now, this is important for actually quite a lot of reasons. It's important for you to come up with your learning outcomes because it's going to help you with your sales copy. It's going to help you tell your students exactly what they're going to get by the end of the course, which means it's going to help you sell the course. It's also going to help you stay focused because it's going to help you know exactly where you are going in terms of taking your students through a journey, and it's going to therefore help you know what content to include in your course and, importantly, what not to include in your course. Because I say to people that when it comes to finding what content to include, and I will give you a couple of tips of places to look, any content that you have, which is likely loads, that doesn't directly align with those learning outcomes, that doesn't directly lead someone to achieving that learning outcome, then it doesn't go in your course. It goes in a separate pile for later, for another course, for another one in the academy. So here's where to start. What I want you to start thinking about right now and writing down is, by the end of your course, by the time the student has completed your course, which of these 3 things will they be able to do? What will they be able to do? As in, what demonstrable skills will they have by the end of the course? So this is all about a demonstration, a physical skill or ability that you are teaching them to do. By the end of the course, what will they know? What new knowledge or concepts will they have attained as a result of taking your course? And what will they feel by the end of your course. So this could be a fear moving away from a bad feeling, or it can be moving towards a good feeling. So it may be that they feel happier, more confident, more in love, whatever it might be, a positive feeling. Or it might be that they will no longer feel anxious or depressed or worried about something, whatever it might be. So it doesn't matter which one of those you go with or what combination you go with. It's totally okay to have a mixture. So this is the first thing I really want you to begin with, is to write down those 3 things: do, know, and feel, and just start brainstorming skills that they will be able to demonstrate, knowledge and information they will have attained, and feelings they will have moved away from or towards by the end of your course. And this is a fantastic starting point for you to start getting very clear on where your course is going and what it is that you're actually aiming to achieve for your particular learners. Now, the next thing you're going to do is, now that you have an idea of what it is that you are going to give your students by the end of the course, now you're going to start looking at your content. So the first thing you want to do is basically look at your content and pull out, first of all, anything that doesn't directly align to achieving those particular learning outcomes. So I want you to make a pile for later, and first of all, remove as much of the feeling as overwhelm as you can by taking out anything that's not relevant or aligned to those learning outcomes. Now, the next thing I want you to do to sort of help make it less overwhelming for you is to think in terms of tips. So I always say to people, your online course can only be so long. I'm going to tie in a couple of bits here. So I'm going to tie in some course length. Currently today, people's attention spans are very, very short, and an online course is going to have higher completion rates and is going to seem more attractive to people if it gets to the point quickly. So I'm recommending to you that you create an online course that's not longer than about 1 hour to 90 minutes in terms of its video content. That is because it's going to be more likely to be completed by your students. If they complete it, they then get all of the information, which means they're going to have more likely chance of achieving the outcomes, getting the transformation, getting the results that the course promised, and obviously leaving you a good review and having a good experience. If they don't finish the course, they don't get the results. And although you might have sold something, it's not going to be good for you down the long period down the line. You want your students to get the results. You want people to finish. So make your courses shorter. Aim for about 1 hour if you can, and keep each video fairly short as well. 1 tip per video. That's all you really want to do. And there is a bunch of statistics and data out there at the moment which suggests that people, generally speaking, will only watch a video for about 2 or 3 minutes. I say about because those people that have an audience and have a following, their students are more likely to watch longer videos, particularly if they've chosen to engage in a program. However, if you want maximum results with online learning, people tend to jump in and out of them. They watch them on their phone when they're on the bus, in between the advert breaks on TV. So you want to keep your videos as straight to the point as you can, deliver the information. They can dip in and out without feeling like it's a big effort to kind of get back into it again each time they come back in. So with that, think in terms of tips. I tell people to grab some of these, go to the shops and buy heaps of post-it notes. If anyone's been following me for a while, you'll see that when I work with my students, there's heaps of photos of them all with post-it notes everywhere. I make them stick them all over windows and walls and everything. Because what I want you to do is I want you to just start brain dumping every single tip that you could possibly give on your topic. And you're going to get a nice big fat pen so you can't write too much. And you're going to put 1 tip on each post-it note. Really, really simple, you know, just 1 or 2 lines of what your tip is, and stick it up on the wall. Now this is going to keep you, it's going to force you to be short, sharp and succinct, and just kind of go tip number 1, drink water. Tip number 2, planning a nutrition course, clearly. Right now I'm making it up. I'm not really for real. You know, eat balanced food. Tip 3, do exercise. Tip 4, go outside and get sunlight. Tip 5, sleep. All right, so I'm just trying to give you an example here of how simple you're going to keep these tips, and brain dump as many as you possibly can out onto these post-it notes and just stick them up on a window or on a wall. When you do this, you're going to literally start to see your course appear in front of you in terms of these little tips, because each post-it note is going to represent, quite simply, a 3-minute video or thereabouts. That's going to be your guideline for yourself. I'm sure each of you could take that one single tip and talk for about 3 minutes on it to get straight to the point and go, here is the tip, here is the information that you need to know and have. Straight away now it becomes less scary, less overwhelming, less how am I going to do this? So once you've thought in terms of tips and you've brain dumped down everything you can, there are then some other methods that I take people through to find more things that they know how to do. There are lots of different ways and strategies that I take my students through to then go and find lots more content that's currently trending and being asked for by their particular audience. I won't go into that today because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but that will hopefully be enough to get you started now in terms of your tips. Because look at it this way, if you're doing 2 to 3 minute videos per tip, you're only going to need between 10 and 20 tips to have yourself a full-blown online course. That's it. That's all you need to do. Now, I'm sure you can come up with 20 tips in your topic, fill in 20 post-it notes and do 20 little 2 to 3 minute videos. There's your course right there already. Now, I'm simplifying it because this is the starting point. And really, when it comes down to it, that is essentially what an online course is. And I say essentially because there is a next part of this phase. This phase is all about now starting to put things into order and then looking at the delivery to make sure that it's engaging, because there's no point having all these tips there if it's not going to be engaging for your particular audience. So once you've got all of these tips, you've downloaded everything from your brain, you've gone through my methods to then find more information of things that you know how to do, you'll then want to put some kind of structure or logic to it. Now, depending what you're teaching will depend how this next stage goes for you, because you might be teaching something that doesn't necessarily require an order of steps. It might quite simply be, random tips. It might be, let me think of something, for instance, happiness. You might be doing a mini course on 20 days to happiness or 20 days to a happier you or a happier life. And you just simply provide a tip each day for 20 days that will help that person become happier. Now, when you look at those 20 tips, they are not required to necessarily be implemented in any particular order in order for that person's life to improve. That is a situation where you quite simply can go, well, what order would you like to do your videos in? What order is it going to be easier for you to simply film those tips? And there is no logical sequence. That's totally okay, and that's totally a thing. Now, there are other topics where quite literally there will be prerequisites. It will be an essential act for people to do step 1 before they can do step 2, before they can do step 3. Now, in instances like that, it will be quite easy for you to look at your wall of post-it notes now and quite simply move the order of them so that they flow from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4. And this is why I love the highly technical post-it note concept methodology, because it's easy for you to now to start moving things around. So if you have something that's very process driven, very step driven, now just move your post-it notes around into order, and there you have the order of the videos that you're going to film. Now, there's a third version, which is the videos themselves, the tips themselves might not necessarily have to go in a specific order, but there are little families or groups, and the groups of tips need to come in a particular order. I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head, which I can't because I have baby brain right now. But basically what you're going to do is kind of see if there's groups of tips that are similar, that form little families. So I used a nutrition example a moment ago. Let's stick with that. Let's say there's a bunch of tips on hydration. So those kind of little family would go together. There's a bunch of tips on nutrition and eating well. So you start grouping those little bunch of tips together, and there might be one on exercise. So those bunch of tips will all kind of form into an exercise collection. Now, basically what you've done by creating those little groups is you've created yourself some modules. And you might look at those modules, which are groups of tips or groups of videos, and sort of feel like naturally those modules will go in a certain order. So all you're going to do now with your post-it notes is group them all together and then just put them into lines. So line 1 is module 1, line 2 is module 2, line 3 is module 3. And you may then look at those and move some of your tips around and see that there's a certain order that those tips in each module would come in. Now, what you're starting to do here is now build out your online course structure quite simply with some post-it notes stuck on the wall. Now, it does get a little bit more intricate than this after this step, but again, remember today I want to give you the most absolute basics to simply start. Because once you've done this, now you are going to create your course plan. Now, I provide people with templates to create their online course plan, because what you're going to do now is you're going to look at the wall in front of you and you're just simply going to start typing up these modules and the individual tips, the lessons, into your online course plan. And you're going to start to now build that out into an engaging online course so that it's more than just some videos. You're going to now decide how you're going to actually deliver your online course. And this is the final part of this video today. Are you going to use talking head videos? Now, you're watching a talking head video right now because it's literally my head talking to the camera. Are you going to do screencast videos? Screencast videos are when you record your computer screen and are really good for showing people how to do something on a computer, how to fill documents in, whatever it might be. Really, really useful for people who are demonstrating how to do something. You can use a combination. As you see with my talking head, I also have some PowerPoint slides up beside me to help the learning process because I'm teaching something quite classroomy and quite structured. You can also be, are you going to do something outside in a scenery, in a setting? Maybe you teach cooking and you're going to have a camera set up inside a kitchen so that people can see you quite literally making your food and making your meals. Are you going to have any downloads? Are you going to have any worksheets or templates in there? Are you going to have community discussion areas? So there's lots of different things that you can start thinking about now to go, how can I now add some other types of resources, different types of videos to enhance the learning experience to really make sure, going back to those learning outcomes, that your students achieve those learning outcomes by the end of the course. Now, that is going to sum up the absolute basics for the content and delivery phase of creating an online course. Now, it is absolutely basic bananas, and there's a lot more the steps that I take people through to ensure that your course is engaging in terms of learning outcomes and adult learning principles, as well as the strategies for building your content out to make sure that it's super engaging for your students. But hopefully that's given you some good ideas and some things to get you started with. And for those of you who want to just get your online course created right now, my online course creation group training program is now open for enrollment, and that is open for start on the 1st of November. And by the 1st of December, everyone in that program will have completed, launched and published their online course, ready for the big Christmas sales period and New Year sales period. So if you're interested in coming along onto my course creation group coaching program, do go and check out sarahcordiner.com/do it so that you can get your online course created this year. See ya.